Good morning, children. Everyone hope all are well, and so do I. Bhavna Desai, your science teacher, is with you with the lesson number 3, that is fiber to fabric. Last session we learned weaving. Now we will move on to knitting. If you have noticed, during winter we wear sweaters. How sweaters are knitted? In knitting, a single yarn is used. Weaving and knitting are used for making different kinds of fabrics. These fabrics are used to prepare different types of clothes. Again, I'll repeat. In knitting, a single yarn is used. Weaving and knitting are used for making different kind of fabrics. These fabrics are used to prepare different types of clothes. History of clothing material. Have you ever thought what materials people used in ancient? The meaning of ancient is belonging to the very distant past, no longer in existence. Again, I'll repeat, the meaning of ancient is belonging to the very distant past, no longer in existence. In ancient times, for clothes, do you ever thought, children, ke ancient time what people were wearing? That we will see now. At that time, people were using bark. Bark is outer cover of a tree. Big leaves of trees, animal skin and fur. The meaning of fur is the short, fine hair of certain animals. So, in the ancient time, the people were using bark, big leaves of trees, animal skins and furs to cover themselves. Once the people started to stay in agriculture communities, they learned to weave twigs, grass into mats and baskets. Again, I'll repeat. Once the people started to stay in agriculture communities, they learned to weave twigs, grass into mats and baskets. Vines, animals' fleece or hair were twisted together into long strands. These were woven into fabrics. Again, I'll repeat. They learned to weave twigs, grass into mats and baskets. Vines, animals' fleece or hair were twisted together into long strands. These were woven into fabrics. The early Indians wore fabrics made out of the early Indians wore fabrics made out of cotton that grew in the area near the river Ganga. Flax is also a plant that gives natural fibers. Again, I'll repeat, the early Indian wore fabrics made out of cotton that grew near the area of the river Ganga. Flax is also a plant that gives natural fibers. In ancient Egypt, cotton as well as flax were grown near the river Nile and were used for making fabrics. So children, here we saw that at the ancient time, people were using fabrics like cotton and flax, and that they were cultivating or they were growing near the sea band. In those days, stitching was not known. People simply wrapped the fabrics around different parts of their body. The different way of wrapping, the meaning of wrapping is arrange loosely on or round something. Again, I will repeat, in those days, stitching was not known. People simply wrapped the fabrics around different parts of their body. The different ways of wrapping fabrics were used. At once, with the invention of the sewing needle, people started stitching fabrics to make different type of clothes. Up till now, where they were, up till not now, but when there was not an invention of sewing needle, up till that people, they were just covering their body with cotton or flax. And once the invention of sewing needle has done, people started to stitch their clothes. Stitching fabrics to make different type of clothes. Stitched clothes have gone through many variety since the invention. As you know, nowadays we are wearing different type of clothes that all are stitched. But before, people used to wrap their body only with the plain clothes without stitching. But still, even today, saris, dhoti, lungi or turban turban is used as an unstitched piece of fabric. That you know, children, your mama, she is wearing sari, it is unstitched. And if your grandfather is wearing dhoti, it is also a unstitched piece of cloth. Even lungi also same way, it is also unstitched. And turban is pagdi, is also a unstitched piece of fabric. As there is a large variety in the food eaten all over country, a large variety is also found in fabrics and clothing items. Example, chiffon, cotton, crepe, georgette and many more. Children, here you know our country is so big with the different states. They have different food varieties, and even the clothing varieties also differ from one state to another state. So we see variation in our country in clothing and food. And the different, here I told you the different fabrics, as for example, are chiffon, cotton, crepe, georgette and many more. So here we have end up our lesson, and what we learned, that summary I'll share with you. Fabrics are made from yarns, which in turn are made from fibers. Again I will tell, fabrics are made from yarns, which in turn are made from fibers. Fibers like cotton and jute are obtained from plants. Again I will repeat, fibers like cotton and jute are obtained from plants. The process of making yarn from fibers is called spinning. The process of making yarn from fibers is called spinning. Fabrics from yarn is made by weaving and knitting. Again I'll repeat, fabrics from yarn is made by weaving or knitting. This the short summary is there, that we have learned all these things. So it is an amazing story, a journey from fiber to fabric. I hope you have understood how fibers we get, and from fiber how we are making fabrics, and nowadays we are wearing different type of clothes with different materials. So here I am ending my lesson with this. Next session we will meet again. Till then, bye bye. See you.